Hey guys, for this how-to video, I am making a Lego minifigure display case. I looked through many different options and I finally found this one here. It had a pretty great tutorial for it. So if you would like to check out her blog, click on the link in the description box below. Alright, let's get started. So the items you need will be a frame. Now, the person in the blog mentioned an IKEA frame. However, I just had my husband make this because we live quite a ways away from an IKEA. So I just had him make this simple little frame here. You will also need a foam board. Now, I got a black foam board and it actually has a grid on it to help you cut. But if you can find one without the grid, that's best because you can kind of see this on the shelf if you look closely. This particular foam board will be going in the back and it will be covered by a poster board, so it doesn't really matter that there is grid on this one. So I had my son choose which color he wanted and he picked the green one. This is just going to get glued onto the back foam board and that's going to be just kind of your background color. Next, you will need another foam board, and this is what your shelves will be made out of. So your little Lego pieces will be sitting on these. That's why I said make sure you don't have the grid, because if you look closely, you will see the grid on some of the shelves. Alright, so for the tools, you will need a long ruler that you can stencil with and cut out. You'll also need an X-Acto knife or a box cutter, whatever you can use to cut the foam. And then you need some kind of glue. I used E6000. I've used this before and hated it, so I tried it again, but I actually liked it this time. And also some tiny little nails that you can pin into the board in the back. You will also need a big plastic bag because you will be painting. You will need some paint and a paintbrush. And then you need little Lego stud base plates that your little Lego guys can sit on. And that is it. So here is a picture of the little base plates that I used. I actually got these from a website. I can add that website in the description box below. They were pretty cheap. And then all of his little Lego guys. If you know what this Lego guy is, write that in the comments below. And here is a close-up of that glue in the nails that I used. Okay, so if you bought an IKEA frame, you technically don't need to do this part. This is just how I make the frame. If you have the frame itself, then you'll just use the backing to the frame. But I don't. So I am going to put the frame on the black foam board, and then from here, I'm going to trace out the board. Next, you're going to cut that out. So the next thing I did was paint the entire thing black. So I cut the poster board out slightly smaller than the back board because I didn't want green showing in between the board and the frame. Okay, so for this next step, I could have used the other glue as well probably, but I chose to use this spray glue. I've had this for years. I have no idea where I got it from, but it is working still, which is crazy. So I just sprayed it on to the back and then glued that onto it. And as you can see here, it is slightly smaller. That way it won't peek through the edges. This next step took me way too long to figure out, but you're going to line your little minifigures on the shelf to see how many you can fit across. And here's my son telling me that he has way more Legos figures than that is gonna hold. And so I have to explain to him that no, it's gonna be mini shelves going up. Okay, so here is where I start cutting out every single one of those shelves, which took quite a while. So I did 8 shelves by 6 shelves. But of course you can do however many shelves you want. Okay, so next I'm just laying the minifigures down on the shelf, and I am going to make the little dashes, and this is going to make the little crevices that the shelf goes into. This part was quite annoying because it doesn't leave clean little cuts, but just do the best you can. You can't really tell how messy the cuts are once they're put together. Okay, so I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is the best way I could think of at the time. Okay, next I just glued that back piece onto it, and then I nailed it down. I put a nail on all 4 corners and then in between those as well. Next, I assembled the shelves, and by doing that, you just slide them into each individual slot. Okay, so at this point I am thinking this is definitely going to be a fail because it's very crooked and very curvy, but later on I will show you that all I had to do was take them out and flip them. I had them in there backwards or upside down or however you want to see it. And once you flip them the right ways, then it worked out perfect and they were straight. As you can see here, they just fit in there very snug. I did not use glue or anything. They just snugly fit in there tight. So as you can see here, there's a curve on it, but fear not, just flip them around and they will work out. Next, I painted the edges of the foam black because they were kind of like a grayish, and this kind of made it blend in a little bit better. Also, you can see in this image how I had already flipped them around, so they're more straight now. For some reason I didn't film this step, but after I painted the edges, I then added the little base plates to the bottom, and I just glued them on with that E6000. Then you go ahead and add your little minifigures. To hang it, we just attach these little brackets and we put them in each of the corners. I also have a how-to video on the Lego table and these photos. If you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description box. And we will be painting those shelves, just an FYI. Alright, so I am labeling this a win. It was going to be a fail, but after I found the reasoning why it was curvy, I changed it to a win. I would say to try to do wood in between instead of foam because it still has a little bit of a funny look to it, as you can see here. But here's the before photo of the curve and then the after. So you can see it is a huge difference, and all you had to do is flip them around. Alright guys, thanks for watching this win or fail, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Alright, bye bye.